Okay, so we do want to continue our coverage of this story and the U.S. Supreme Court decision. Let's bring back the CBC's Willie Lowry, who's in the U.S. Capitol. You've had a little bit more time to go through those documents there. Certainly, we know that they just came down, about 35 minutes ago, on the Supreme Court's decision here against those sweeping tariffs imposed by the U.S. president. What more do we know at this stage about that court ruling?
Absolutely, Arthi. We're still sifting through what is a pretty dense and significant ruling. I want to read a little bit from Chief Justice John Roberts' decision. He said, quote, "In light of the breadth, history, and constitutional context of that asserted authority, he must identify, he being the president, a clear congressional authorization to exercise it. IEEPA's grant of authority to regulate importation falls short. IEEPA contains no reference to tariffs or duties. The government points to no statute in which Congress used the word regulate to authorize taxation." I want to take a step back, Arthi. This whole case came about after Trump, of course, used IEEPA, also known as the International Emergency Economic Powers Act of 1977, to justify the imposition of tariffs. A small company called Voss Selections, that's a wine importation company based in New York State, took objection to that and essentially filed a lawsuit against the government, accusing or saying that the president did not have the presidential authority, the constitutional authority, to use IEEPA as a justification for imposing tariffs. That case was heard by the Supreme Court back on November 5th in what was quite a testy back and forth. The justices really challenged the government's lawyers, which led many to believe that ultimately the Supreme Court would come to the decision that it finally did today, ruling 6-3 that the president did not possess the authority to use IEEPA to impose tariffs. Again, this is a very significant ruling. It's tariffs are really the economic engine of the Trump administration's economic agenda and policies. President Trump himself has called this the most consequential ruling in the history of this country. But they've also been bracing, as we've mentioned, for this possible outcome.
And speaking of people who were poised for this potential outcome, we know the Small Business Coalition has already started reacting to this. And it's important to note their role in all of this, in bringing this case forward to try and block these tariffs. And they want refunds now.
Yeah, so that is the big question moving forward. The government accrued about $150 billion from these tariffs. What's going to happen to that money? I believe more than 1,000 companies are already lining up to potentially sue the government again to get that money back. Interestingly, Justice Gorsuch acknowledged that. Justice Kavanaugh acknowledged that in his dissent. He said, quote, "The court says nothing today about whether and if so, how the government should go about returning the billions of dollars that it has collected from importers." So again, this ruling does not actually touch upon that question, but that is something that many people, including these many small businesses, will be asking, will be looking for answers in the coming days. Again, that's about $150 billion potentially at stake. That's a significant amount of money even for the U.S. government.
Willie, thank you for this. That is the CBC's Willie Lowry poring over those documents this hour in Washington. Thanks again.